Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava and Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Ramadhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Ramadhava Kunja Bihari Jai Mr. Pad Paramahansa Padavajikacharya Astotar Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Padavajikacharya Astotar Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavana ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Shri Ishopanishad ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. I'm sorry? Yeah, well, at least we have the right verse. Okay. 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On his 30th day of September 2019 in SanDiego, we're reading from Sri Ishopanishad, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we'll read Isho Mantra 7 again, and we're in the middle of the purport. Now, just a note, to remind you, these are Upanishadic verses, so there's some exceptions. They have these Y at the end of the first line there. So we're going to chant it Bhutani, because we're going to keep repeating that line. Otherwise it would be Yasmin Sarvani Bhutanyatma Babud Bijanataha, which we'd lose a syllable. But we won't lose a syllable, we'll just chant it with like an I. Okay? Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atma Babud Bijanataha Nataha Tattako Moha Kakshoka Ekatvam Anupashyataha Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atma Babud Vijanataha Tattako Moha Kakshoka Ekatvam Anupashyataha Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atma Babud Vijanataha Tattako Moha Kakshoka ekatvam anupashyata. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atma babud vijanataha katko moha kakshoka ekatvam anupashyataha. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atma babud vijanataha tattako moha kakshoka ekatvam anupashyataha. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atma babud vijanataha tattako moha kakshoka ekatvam anupashyata. All right, it's been a while since we chanted this, so we'll do the synonyms. Yasmin, in the situation. Sarvani, all. Bhutani, living entities. Atma, the chitkana or spiritual spark. Eva, only. Abhut, exist as. Vijanataha, of one who knows. Tatra, therein. Kaha, what? Moha, illusion. Kaha, what? Shokaha, anxiety. Ekatvam, oneness in quality. Anupashyata, of one who sees through authority, or one who sees constantly like that. Translation. One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks, in quality one with the Lord, becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? And moving down in the purport, paragraph beginning the spiritual entities. The spiritual entities are meant for enjoyment, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra, 1.1.12. Anandamayo bhyasat. By nature and constitution, every living being, including the Supreme Lord and each of his parts and parcels, is meant for eternal enjoyment. The living beings who are encaged in the material tabernacle are constantly seeking enjoyment, but they are seeking it on the wrong platform. Apart from the material platform is the spiritual platform, where the Supreme Being enjoys himself with his innumerable associates. On that platform there is no trace of material qualities, and therefore that platform is called nirguna. On the nirguna platform, there is never a clash over the object of enjoyment. Here in the material world, there is always a clash between different individual beings, because here the proper center of enjoyment is missed. The real center of enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, who is the center of the sublime and spiritual rasa dance. We are all meant to join him and enjoy life with one transcendental interest and without any clash. That is the highest platform of spiritual interest. And as soon as one realizes this perfect form of oneness, there can be no question of illusion, moha, or lamentation, shoka. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him and all members of Shri. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him and all members of Shri Parampara. So this verse is describing how we should see all living entities. Why don't we see that way? Because we are seeing in this separatist vision. We're here in the material world because we wanted to compete with Krishna. We wanted to be the centers of enjoyment. We want to dominate the energy, material energy. We can't do that in the spiritual world because Krishna is the supreme enjoyer there. Everybody knows it. And everyone is completely okay with that. They're good with that. In other words, they're enjoying by serving Krishna and feeling the reciprocal love coming from Krishna. That's the natural state for every living entity. We've lost that by turning our back on Krishna. This verse again, which I chant practically every class, Bhayam dvatiya banaveshitakshat, ishara petasya viparhiyo asmriti. That the first thing that happens when you turn away from Krishna and you forget his protection and you reject his protection and guidance, is that fear arises. Fear arises when we become absorbed in the material energy, ignoring the spiritual energy, ignoring Krishna. This second line, Ishad, Isha refers to the master, Krishna. Apetasya, literally turning away. Ishad apetasya, viparhiyo asmriti. And our position becomes reversed. Instead of being servants, we try to be masters. Instead of being givers of enjoyment to Krishna, we try to be the enjoyers. So that's called reverse position. And asmriti, we forget everything. We forget who we are, we forget Krishna, we forget the spiritual world, and we are immersed in this relative world, identifying it as our place of dominance and place of enjoyment. And we, of course, identify with whatever material body we happen to be in. So this is exactly opposite to what he's describing here. One who has developed Krishna consciousness sees differently. A famous verse in the Brahma Samhita that one who has prema can always see the Lord in the heart. Premanjana chudita bhakti vilochanena santas sadaiva dhyeshu vilokayanti. The santas are the devotees, the saints. Santa Cruz, SanDiego, same word. And what? Santa Claus, St. Paul. So there's a lot of saints. The same word is there. What is the real characteristic of a saint or a pure devotee? Prema. He's developed or awakened his original prema. The prema is already there, but it's now being contaminated and distorted into kama by relation to this world. The whole job we have is to sublimate that kama back into prema. So this verse from the Brahma Samhita describes one who has achieved that and how he sees. So he describes this prema as like a salve for the eyes. In other words, it changes how you see. Premanjana chudita bhakti vilochanena. Seeing with the eyes of bhakti. What does he see? Internally, he sees Shama Sundar in his heart at every moment. Yang Shama Sundaram Chinduguna Swarupam, who is inconceivable and beautiful and all attractive. So, and outside, he sees like this. He sees every living entity as part and parcel of Krishna. So we have an intimate relation with everyone. We have an intimate relation. If we remember the philosophy, we understand that we ourselves as souls. Do you want to have a chair, Prabhu? We can give you a chair. You're okay? So, the first lesson is that we're spirit, not matter. So that changes everything. Because as soon as you're spirit, what does that mean? You're eternal. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano. We never take birth, we'll never die. We don't come into being, we don't grow, we don't produce any byproducts. These are the 6 changes of a body, of anything that, any organism, whether human or other, has these 6 changes. It's constantly changing. Comes into being, it takes birth. The living entity enters into the organism somehow, right? In the womb, egg. So then development takes place if everything goes normally. So the growth, even before you come out of the womb or out of the egg, there's some growth going, changing. So after birth, the growth continues. So birth, growth, then you're sustained for some time, and during that time you produce byproducts like children or offspring. Then there's the inevitable decline. The organism is just a machine eventually, and then death. 6 changes. The soul goes through none of those. Don't take birth, we don't grow, we don't produce byproducts, none of that. We just are. And our natural position is, as mentioned in this paragraph that we read, Anandamaya Abhyasa. We are meant for enjoyment. This is very good news, because many spiritual paths seem to say that we're meant for austerity. We're meant for denying our enjoying propensity. Otherwise, you're going to be bound to this world. This is the impersonalist view. Either it's going to be give up your identity and simply merge into Brahman and enjoy being free from misery, That's the extent of your enjoyment. It can be very, very blissful to be completely free of misery. But it's nothing like positive ananda, relationship with Krishna. And eventually it gets super boring because you're not relating to anyone. You have no senses, no variety. All you have is a bright light. And you have this understanding, I am that I am, completely free of birth, old age, disease, and death. How long can you be sustained on that? They all come down. It's right in the Bhagavatam. Yen ye adabindaksha vimuktamaninas vayastabhavad avishuddha buddhaya. Besides the devotees, this is the prayers of the demigods for Krishna in the womb, Devaki. They come in and kind of hidden in that dungeon where she is, and they offer these beautiful prayers. And Prabhupada would always quote this one, vis-a-vis the impersonalists. Besides the bhaktas, they've just been describing the glories of your devotees, Krishna. There are others, Anya, Enye Adabindaksha, O Lotus-eyed Lord, Vimuktamaninas, who think they're liberated because they're merged into Brahman. Ashtabhavad Avishuddha Buddhaya, but they're averse to you, your personal form, because their intelligence is still impure. They're afraid. They're afraid of having a form, of having senses, that they'll get entangled again. This is their big mistake. They don't understand that the eternal spiritual form of Krishna, that's superior to the impersonal Brahman. They think that the form is derived from the Brahman. You understand? So what do? Well, what do we have to work with? Okay, I understand. I have to purify or negate all of these material desires that I've built up so many millions of births. So severe austerity, severe tapasya. It's cold out. When it gets cold, take everything off. Jump into the frozen water. Really make it bite. If it's hot, go out in the sun. Sit in the sun. Sit in the desert. You can see how it's not the program we're doing. So, and the whole purpose is to burn out any vestige of attachment to this world. You see? All be attached to that Brahman effulgence. So this verse says, Aruha kritrena param padam. A very few, by these severe austerities, kritrena, can't you hear it just in the word? They rise up through the param padam. This is the Brahma Bhuta platform. Beyond the modes of nature, very peaceful and full of happiness and bliss, But it's not bhakti. There's no Krishna there. And so eventually they come down. And that's what the next line says. Aruha kritrena param padam patantyadho. They fall down. Patantyadho anadvita yushmarangara, because they're averse to serving your lotus feet. So there's no platform of security on the spiritual sphere outside of a personal relationship with Krishna, bhakti yoga, and pure devotion. So that's what this verse, this sutra in the Vedanta Sutra says. Anandamayo bhyasat. By Krishna's activities, not from here, but from the purport. By Krishna's activities in his life, we understand, we can see he's anandamayo. He's full of ananda all the time. And because we are part and parcel of Krishna, mamai vangsha jivalok, we're his angsha. We have his qualities in minute degree. So we're also meant to be anandamayo. But because we're minute, we have the unfortunate tendency to be overwhelmed by his external energy. So the whole idea in bhakti is to get back into the internal energy. One of those energies is going to control us. We can't be independent. We have to serve. We're either going to serve the external energy or serve the internal energy. So we've been serving the external energy for so long and suffering. That's the thing. This verse, you've heard it a million times, but it's always pertinent. Kamadinam katina katita palita durni deshas. Tesham jata mayena karunana tupano pashanti. This is a verse by Madhavendra Puri, quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, spoken by Lord Chaitanya Sanatana Goswami when he starts describing the practice of devotion. His instructions are divided very nicely into three parts. The sambandha, who am I, who is God, why am I suffering? All of these questions are very essential to know. What is this world? That's sambandha. And on the basis of that understanding, then you want to practice devotion in order to realize it. Just understanding is not enough. You have to actually experience it. So that's abhideya. That's everything we do. Do this, don't do that. Approach your guru, get up early, don't eat this, and so forth. So he's beginning this description of practice, and he quotes this verse from Madhavendra Puri. So kama adina means kama, etc. You see, from the material desire, the turning away from Krishna, and all of that prema is now becoming kama. How can I enjoy myself in the world? It comes everything else: lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, envy. So that kama adinam katina katida, he personifies them. They've been my cruel taskmasters. They've given me all of these orders, birth after birth, and I very humbly follow them. But they don't show me any mercy. They just keep demanding more and more service. Kama adinam katina katida, palita means orders. Durnidesha, no, palita, yeah, my master. Durnideshas means bad instructions. How many times do we see, even in our own lives, we have some experience that you get entangled with some substance, substance abuse. You don't get entangled in order to suffer. You want to enjoy. And then maybe the first couple of times you're enjoying this and that, before long, you feel the bad side effects. Alcohol, If you read the results, I'm on this WebMD because I'm old. So they keep sending me things. Here's what happens with alcohol after some time. It makes you wrinkly, it dries up your skin, it ruins your liver, Well, people don't take a drink, let me damage my liver. No one's thinking like that. But that's the result. So the result of these bad demands from kama, etc. What about anger? Oh no, I just killed my brother, or something like that. That can happen. It happens periodically. People, do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do, and then they have to live with the consequences. So what he's saying here, I'll give you my little poem. In how many ways have I sought to obey the seductive demands of my wicked desires? They've shown me no mercy. Yet on I've gone, shamelessly trying to quench lust's unquenchable fires. But now I'm rejecting these hellish desires because my higher intelligence now has awoken. O Krishna, O shelter of fearlessness, please let me serve you with faith that will never be broken. So this is a very nice verse because it describes the ordinary human condition, But the fact that the devotee is speaking like this means that he's become a little bit enlightened. Understands his position. We have to understand, how we got to this point of basically suffering. Dukkha mashashvatam. That's what this world is all about. The little enjoyments are just Maya's trick to make us think that we can make some other adjustments and stay happy all the time. We can't. That's what I was saying last night. Is that we're in a burning fire of lamentation. There's a great verse by Prahlad. Yasmat priya priya yoga yoga janma shoka agnina. That the fire of lamentation is caused by these things that we experience all the time. Who hasn't experienced that something that's dear to you is taken away? My neighbor had his car stolen right out of the lot. He left his keys in the door, and some homeless guy walked up the stairs, pulled the key, and drove his car away. So I saw him right after the car was stolen. He was lamenting, why did I do that, And so he was very careful because we have these Amazon packages coming up. If I see a package lying out, I'll take it in my apartment. So if you don't get your package, you can knock on me. So yesterday he said, I got my car back. So they found it, the police found it, So just a joyride. So this is material life. Lamentation, and then, jubilation. It's back, my dear car, But things are coming and going all the time. So this verse says that, echoing Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, who says, Dukkha mashashvatam, this world is an alaya, is an abode of misery, and it's temporary. And that temporariness of everything is part of the misery, part of the difficulty. So he very nicely analyzes it. There's a Sanskrit device. This is a literary device, which we find in this famous verse about describing the Madhyama Adhikari. There's different levels of devotees. And the Madhyama Adhikari has these four things that he has different relationships with. Ishvare tad adineshu badiseshu dvishatrasha. Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha, Sakaroti Samadhyama. So first he defines the four different entities. The Ishvara, the Supreme Lord. Adineshu, those who are related to the Supreme Lord, the devotees. Those who are innocent masses, and out and out demons and enemies of God. So you have to learn how to relate to each one in the right way. So then there's a list. You have the list of the entities, then you have the list of the relationships. Prema, you try to develop love for God, for Krishna. Maitri, friendship with the devotees, very important. Kripa, mercy for the innocent, those who may be receptive, even to a little bit to them, take some prasadam, take a book, you show mercy to them. And the out and out enemies, when we have the Rath Yatra, those radical Christians with the big signs, you're all going to hell. We should ignore them, really. So you ignore. So now in Prahlad's verse, he uses a similar device, a literary device. Yasmat priya apriya viyoga sayoga. Okay? So you have to see the order, just like we have in English the word respectively. And respectively means, okay, this happened, this and this, respectively, in order. So the things which are dear, priya, are viyoga, are ripped away from you. Viyoga means just the opposite of yoga. Yoga means you're joined. Viyoga means you're separated. And the apriya, that which is abominable, hateful, I don't want to see it, you're forced to see it. It's forced upon you. Sayoga. So these two things, over time, they create a fire of lamentation. Because either one of them, think about it, can cause tremendous emotional pain. Your dear dog died, got hit by a car, it's horrible. You put so much, relation with the dog, or your wife, your child, whatever. And they may be taken away suddenly, or gradually. One second. Or I was thinking, that which is priya and dear to you suddenly becomes apriya. Like these divorces. They don't happen overnight, they develop over time. The person who you love is cheating on you or whatever, and becomes a source of great pain and suffering. The very thing that was priya becomes apriya. That's another way it happens. One way or another, this is what material life is like. Yes, there may be periods where everything is going okay, nicely, and you've got your dear things, you've got money in the bank, whatever, But it's going to end. One or more of those dear things will be taken away, and one or more of these horrible things will be put on you. You're sitting in Bermuda, I made it here, I'm living here, it's such a beautiful weather, we got the tourists coming, we're good. And then comes Hurricane Dorian, was it, who just devastated Bermuda? I don't know if you saw that. The Bahamas, Grand Bahama. So there it is, apriya sayoga in your face. And your whole life can become uprooted. And that's what material life is all about. There is no way of coming to a platform of certainly eternal happiness, and in this Kali Yuga, practically even a couple of years of relative happiness is very unusual. So, but here it says, Anandamaya Abhyasa, that we're meant to share in Krishna's quality of being full of Ananda all the time. Well, how do we get back there? That's the whole idea. By nature, constitution, every living being, including the Lord, and parts and parcels, that's us, is meant for eternal enjoyment. I mean, that itself is such an encouraging statement. It means that, okay, we have work to do, but the end goal, Prabhupada assures us, is unending bliss. Isn't it worth trying for? Having faith in these statements is the foundation of our action in Krishna consciousness. So then he describes, we're all encaged in material tabernacle. This is Prabhupada's using this language he's writing in India. The body. We're seeking enjoyment, but we're seeking it in the wrong place, in the wrong platform. So Krishna consciousness tells us how we can actually enjoy spiritual happiness, and it doesn't have to end. This is the revolutionary principle. And it's something that is the good news for the whole world. Because the whole world is suffering and destroying itself, trying to get more and more of this material enjoyment and stepping all over other people, making the heart as stone, utilizing other people and throwing them away. Now they're going to bring robots in and just fire everybody from the factories. The whole thing is crazy. All on the basis of this personal enjoyment. But when the enjoyment is spiritual, it means that you enjoy more by giving it out. You don't lose anything. It's like I was sitting there with Sukhi Bhakta showed up last night. So he lived there for quite a few years, and he's pretty smart, and we learned a bunch of shlokas, And we started chanting a bunch, and there were others listening, and it didn't cost us anything, And we were just floating along in these different verses about Krishna. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? The essence of Bhagavad Gita, these 4 verses. He says, Aham sarvasya pabhavo mattak sarvam bhavartate. This is your sambandha. This is sambandha abhidheya prayojana, right, in these 4 verses. I am the source of everything. Everything emanates from me. That's the basic principle. Krishna is God, and He's the source of everything. He's the Brahman that we're searching for in Vedanta Sutra. So now what are we going to do about it? Now then he comes to Abhideya. Those who are intelligent, they therefore worship me with their heart and soul, and everything they have. Bhuta bhavana. And then how do they do that? We're back, it was still in Abhideya. Matchitta, they put their mind on me. How? By chanting Hare Krishna, seeing the deity so many ways. Gata prana, their life force has gone to me. In other words, they dedicate their life to me. And what do they do for recreation? Bodhiyantak parasparam. They get together and glorify me. And just by glorifying me, they merge in an ocean of ecstasy. You need practically nothing. Your voice, a little shawl, some place to sit, clean, quiet, somewhat relatively quiet, and glorify. Or if it's not quiet, just stand up, make a big noise, and chant Hare Krishna. So, bodhi parasparam. And what is the result? Katayan tashtaman nityam, always glorifying in different ways, together. Tushanti charamandi. They feel satisfaction and happiness and blissfulness. And what's Krishna's reciprocation? He doesn't just sit there and listen in the heart. He's also reciprocating. Tesham satati yuktanam. Bhajatam priti purvakam. It's that word priti again, prema. Tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamapi yantite. And for those, he's describing those who are serving him in that way, glorifying him constantly. Satati yuktanam, always linked to me in bhakti. Bhajatam priti purvakam, with devotion and love. I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. He's in there. He provides knowledge, remembrance, intelligence. And then he describes why he does that. Tesham evanukampatam, out of my compassion. Now, anukampa is a very interesting word, because I'm conscious of words all the time, how they come together. You know what kampa means? We sing all the time, the second verse of our Gurvashtaka, trembling in ecstasy. It's a sign of high emotion. Now, anukampa means sympathetic feeling. Out of Krishna's sympathy and feeling our consciousness and emotions, he destroys with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. In other words, it's a very dramatic, that's the last verse. So Krishna is Surit, he's our best friend, and he really wants us to enjoy like anything with him. He doesn't want us to try to enjoy here because that just brings pain. So we can't blame Krishna for any of the suffering here. That's part of our lesson we have to learn. But we can thank him for any happiness we feel in Krishna consciousness, because that's also his gift. So, the Supreme Being enjoys himself with his innumerable associates, of which we are some. We're all associated with Krishna, but we've forgotten that, we're denying it. So admitting or surrendering to the truth and acting on it and cultivating that consciousness again is what bhakti is all about. And this famous line here, which is practically unique in Prabhupada's writings, the real center of enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, who is the center of the sublime spiritual rasa dance. We are all meant to join him and enjoy life with one transcendental interest without any clash. So we're all meant to enjoy him, and it's another place where he mentions that we're all meant to enjoy him in the rasa dance. So that's what this is all about. And then Prabhupada's going to also talk about, because this Ishopanishad, he very much is focusing on civilization. On the socio-political situation and how Krishna consciousness can cure those problems too. Because after all, they're also created by the same root problem of turning away from Krishna and trying to dominate this world. It just means that people get together, they form societies, they get weapons and so forth, and they identify as this nation and that nation, artificially divided, and it just creates havoc. But if people understood, hey, we're all children of God, we're all spirit souls, let's glorify God together, serve God together, and be happy. All of those artificial barriers called upadis, sarvopadi vinimuktam, we need to become free of these artificial designations based on the body, the mind, the race, the language, the place of birth. That's a donkey consciousness. Krishna says in the Bhagavatam, near the end of the 10th chapter, 10th canto, Yasyatma buddhi kunapeti dhatuke swadhikalotradisha bhumi ijedi yatirtha buddhi salile nakarhachit janesha bhagesheva gokara. Gokara means the donkey or the cow, or it can mean the donkey who carries the load of hay for the cow. Not very nice consciousness. So what is the first point? Yasyatma buddhi. Buddhi means your consciousness or your belief that I am this body. Kunapetvi dhatake. He describes it as a bag or a corpse filled, it's actually dead, being animated by the soul. A bag full of blood and pus and mucus. The three dhatus. Am I that? Do you think you're that? No one thinks of that. I'm who I am. But that's what our, consciousness, bodily consciousness. And then what's further? Swadi, kalatrash, and mine. So it's I and my. I am this body, and things related are mine, beginning with my wife, my bank account, my land. Swadi, kalatradishu, the wife, etc. The wife expands everything. And then, boma ijjadi. Now that has different meanings, but Prabhupada would always give it the understanding, means that the place where I'm born, boma, is worshipable. In other words, nationalism, all of this nation consciousness, which is just an extension of body consciousness. Now what about pilgrimage? Let's go on pilgrimage. To think that going on pilgrimage means going far away and then bathing in the river and then coming back, and you've gone on pilgrimage. As opposed to going to a holy place, seeking out the wise persons there and hearing. That's what real pilgrimage is. The bath is part of it, but not the whole thing. More important is to find wise people there who could give you spiritual instruction. And these temples are places of pilgrimage. Prabhupada worked so hard to establish them, so that there would be places where Krishna is glorified, where that's the center of activity. Krishna is here, chanting is going on, and the classes are going on. He wanted that very much. So all that gives us a big job, because we're trying to spread Krishna consciousness, become Krishna conscious, and the more we can taste it and the benefits of it, the more enthusiastic we will be to give it out, and see back to the theme of the verse, to see everyone equally and really like us, see all living entities as spiritual sparks in quality one with the Lord. We become a true knower of things, and what can be illusion or anxiety will be out of illusion. So developing that spiritual vision is a very important part of Krishna consciousness. Okay, I'll stop haranguing you. Any questions, comments? You had a question. Oh, I answered the question? Okay. All right. One or two more poems, unless you have a question. Okay. Let me just mark this so I'll know where to begin next time we do Ishopanishad. Unfortunately, I'll be gone again for a while. Yeah. All right. This is good. All right. All right. Something sweet. Okay. What could be sweeter than this? The holy name. It's so nice to hear how our acharyas appreciate this chanting, because we're also trying to appreciate and we feel something. But here's how, if you're really pure, how you experience it. The Raghunath Das Goswami writes it. Radheti nama navasundara siddhu mugdham Krishneti nama madhurapurdagada dugdham Savakshanam sudabhiraga himena ramyam kritvata daiva pibamera sanechadarte. So he's comparing the holy names to different kinds of drinks, and the cooling ice that makes it even more delicious is love. An excellent fresh nectar drink with endless subtle tastes, such is the name of Radha, by whom all three worlds are graced. Condensed milk that is wonderfully delicious, thick and sweet, such is the name of Krishna, in whom all attractions meet. Now mix these drinks, O thirsty tongue, and add the cooling spice of love. A prize the wise will try to buy at any price. And then at every moment drink this beverage most fine, and make my heart supremely blissful, peaceful, and divine. So that's how we should try to think of the holy name. We're drinking. And one day we'll really taste that sweetness. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.